If you're looking for the best AV receiver for music, here's a list you must see. We made this list based on our personal preference and sorted it based on their features, prices, quality, durability, and reputation of the manufacturers and customer feedback. Also, we've included options for every type of customer. So let's get started. At the first position of our list, we have Denon AVR-X2700. Denon's AVR-X2700 provides an affordable jumping-on point for the brand's 2021 X series of receivers. The price tag hints at budget components, but in a smaller viewing room, rather than a cavernous theater, it defies expectations. There's little to separate the Denon AVR-X2700 from its predecessor, the AVR-X2600, as far as look and feel go. This is a sturdy device that needs a solid shelf and plenty of room to breathe. There are some structural changes worth noting, though. While the X2700 boasts that 8 support, it does drop down to 6 HDMI inputs overall from 8, and also loses the quick access aux that was in the front face next to the powered USB 2.0 socket, which remains, as well as the aux that was on the rear. With a punchy delivery, it has no problem with action-orientated soundtracks, and it's nuanced enough to portray subtle ambience too. Power output is rated at 150 for multi-channel, which seems a little generous. A 7-channel model. It'll support a 5.1, 2-channel configuration or conventional 7.1 surround, depending on how you set up your loudspeakers. There's also 8 support, albeit via a single HDMI 2.1 input. Moving on to the next at number 2 with Marantz NR1711. Marantz hasn't changed the look of its half-height lifestyle in our AVR range for the best part of a decade. But we're good with that because beneath the hood, there's been constant evolution. This latest iteration is right up there with heavier hitters. You can run a 5.1, 2 Atmos setup with a uniform 50U delivered across all 7 channels. There are 6 HDMI inputs, one labeled 8, which supports 4/120s and 860s. There's only one HDMI output though, but the feature niceties include HO's multi-room and AirPlay too. If you don't have a full multi-room speaker setup, you can also use Dolby Atmos height virtualization and DTS X Virtual to roughly emulate a 3D listening experience. This powerful 7-channel discrete amplifier delivers identical power on all 7 channels, 50x7. Auto Eco mode reduces power consumption without compromising on that superb Marantz sound. With built-in HO's wireless multi-room technology, play the same song in every room, or a different one in each room. Connect all your HO speakers to the app and get full control everywhere in your home. The number 3 position is held by Denon AVR-X4700. A sonic tour de force, the X4700 is a jaw-dropping AV receiver with a class-leading specification for movies and gaming. HDMI provision covers 8 inputs, one of which is designated 8. Generously, there are 3 outputs with ear support. You can enjoy a smooth, lag-free gaming experience with spectacular imaging, reduced lag, and frame tearing with 4/120s pass-through, variable refresh rate, VRR, quick frame transport, QFT, and auto low latency mode, ALMA, with dynamic HDR and HDR10+. This 9.2-channel receiver delivers clarity, contrast, and color, and quick media switching eliminates video delay. Advanced Odyssey calibration is on hand to make the receiver sound great in pretty much any listening room, and once optimized the results are stunning. The X4700 is fantastically dynamic, able to cope with dramatic transients like a boss. Bass is tight, and there's a superbly articulate upper mid-range. Unfortunately, it does suffer from an HDMI 2.1 bug when connected to the Xbox Series X, but you can order a device which fixes it. More on this below. Next at number 4, we have Yamaha Aventage RX A3080. The RX A3080 is coming to the end of the road, with new Yamaha Aventage models lining up to replace it. But if you move fast, you could pick up a bargain. This is a very tasty AV receiver indeed. Yamaha Aventage 9.2-channel, 11.2-channel pre-out flagship fork Ultra HD AV receiver with surround, AI, HDR, Dolby Atmos, Wi-Fi, Phono, AirPlay 2, and MusicCast. Born from engineering performance, our flagship 9.2-channel, 11.2-channel processing AV receiver was bred for versatility with dual S-Saber DACs, Dolby Atmos, and DTS, X, Wi-Fi, and much more. Yamaha shares your passion for great sound. As one of the largest makers of musical instruments and audio products in the world, our expertise extends to designing innovative products that deliver true sound reproduction for your music and entertainment experience. Yamaha has been an avid innovator since the early days of analog pro logic, and it continues to set the pace here with Surround AI. Surround AI saves the bother of having to juggle Yamaha's cinema DSP modes, presets like spectacle, sci-fi, adventure, music video, and video game, because it makes the appropriate post-processing choices for you. Amazingly, it works rather well. And despite the RX A3080 having a 9-channel design, it can process 11 channels, 7.2 if you add additional amplification. The number 5 position is held by Sony STR-DN1080. This brilliant budget Sony AV receiver is a perennial favorite, ideal for home theater fans that want barnstorming performance without the price. A 7-channel design, it supports a 5.12 Dolby Atmos speaker layout. However, it cleverly also employs acoustic processing to add phantom rears, thereby creating a pseudo 7-channel surround listening experience. It has another cool talent. If you can't place speakers in their ideal position, crafty audio DCACX processing will virtually relocate the speakers you have. And it works, if and precisely. In any case, the STR-DN1080 is an entertaining performer with agile sonic steerage and a sucker punch LFE low-frequency effects channel that relishes big, explosive effects. There's no ache or fork high frame rate support, but if you can live with this limitation, it remains a fabulous buy. The number 6 position is dominated by Pioneer Elite VXLX504. The VXLX504 is a 9-channel Dolby Atmos AV receiver suitable for speaker configurations of 5.2, 4, or 7.22. HDMI provision covers 7 inputs, 1 on the front fascia with 2 outputs. There's Dolby Vision but no AIC support. Digital audio inputs are limited to 1 coaxial and 1 optical. Dolby Atmos / Dolby Surround mixing by adding an external amplifier. The 9.2 AV receiver can be expanded to decode 11" to drive the 7.2 forge configuration of Dolby Atmos. You can reproduce object-oriented sound and smooth, curving movements, or the realistic 3-dimensional movement overhead by the top speakers. Other audio codecs such as PCM and DSD can be upmixed using Dolby Surround for enjoying 3D surround sound. Pioneer AVers have a characteristically crisp delivery, which can sound overly analytical, but we like its character. There's also a reflex optimizer function to fine-tune up firing Dolby Atmos speakers. On top of that, this receiver has built-in Chromecast and Google Assistant support, plus Apple AirPlay 2 and support for DTS Play 5. In terms of bang for buck, then it's hard to argue with this glossy Pioneer. Moving on to the next at number 7 with Marantz SR6015. There's something enduringly elegant about Marantz's AV component design. The curved fascia with small porthole display speaks of legacy and old-school musicality. But don't let that fool you. This AV receiver is also a movie beast on the cutting edge. Its audio performance is sublime, with effortless control of the soundstage. Never feeling under pressure. Sonic placement is always precise. Drive exquisitely detailed home cinema with the Marantz SR6015 9.2-channel Acoustic receiver. Delight in the most musical sound of any source from home theater to vinyl to digital streaming. Totally immerse yourself in movies and TV with elevated surround sound formatting from Dolby Atmos, DTS, X, and a Max Enhanced. Enjoy seamless voice control from the leading voice agents, multi-room connectivity, and the latest in HDMI technology. A 9-channel model, it can be configured for 7.12. There's also Dolby Atmos height virtualization and virtual DTS, X, plus a Max Enhanced certification, which means it'll automatically change bass management handling for deeper bass when it recognizes flagged content. The receiver has a single 8-capable HDMI 2.1 input, while smart support covers Alexa and Google Assistant, as well as AirPlay 2. The number 8 position is held by Denon AVR-X8500HSP. AVR-X8500HSP comes with remote, calibration mic, radio antennas, detachable Bluetooth and Wi-Fi antennas, manual, and a warranty card. To calibrate the system, like in the case of S3012, you will have to use the included mic, Odyssey Multec XT32 calibration software, and Odyssey Multi-Ec Editor app. When it comes to controls, you can use the control panel on the front side. Most of the controls are located behind the hidden compartment or the remote. Also, the most special thing about AVR's 8500 is its connectivity. Aside from 8 HDMI inputs, 7 on the back plus 1 on the front, and 3 HDMI outs, 1 HDMI IRC, you have plenty of video inputs and outputs, composite, 4 in and 1 out, component, 3 in and 1 out, as well as analog and digital audio inputs, RCA and X6, optical X2, coaxial X2, and 1 phono input. On the front, you also have 1 USB input, 1 3.5mm input, and a mic input for calibration. All HDMI ports are HDMI 2.0 with HDCP 2.2 support. They all support 4x/60s pass-through and all the latest image standards, HDR10, Dolby Vision, HLG. Next at number 9 we have Yamaha Aventage CX5200. Having separate units for every purpose is the preferred way if you're an audiophile. That's why we decided to start our list of 6 best AV receivers for music in 2021 with a combo. It's Yamaha CX5200 surround sound processor. Have preamp paired with Yamaha's MX5200 multi-channel power amp. In this combo, the preamp is in charge of receiving and processing the signal, while the amplification is done by the separate unit MX5200. This way, you will get a higher and cleaner power output with much less noise, lower THD, and higher fidelity and sound transparency. It's a perfect combo for both surround sound and music reproduction. The preamp unit, CX5200, looks like a regular AV receiver with controls on the front and inputs/outputs on the back. The front panel looks exactly like the panel of some Yamaha Aventage AV receivers, RX1080, AT1080, AT3080. However, the big difference is that CX5200 doesn't have any powered speaker outputs. Instead, it has 11 balanced XLR preamp outputs that connect to 11 XLR inputs on the MX5200. It also has 11 unbalanced RCA pre-outputs. Finally, the number 10 position is dominated by Denon AVR's 8500H. Marantz SR6012 is a highly versatile and very powerful AV receiver. Its transparent and clear sound output makes it the main reason why SR6012 is our favorite AV receiver for music under $3,000. SR6012 is an 11.2 receiver, compatible with Dolby Atmos and DTS-X. It has 11 HDMI ports, 8 in plus 3 out, numerous analog and digital audio inputs, preamp outputs for all the channels, and 2 subwoofer pre-outputs. SR6012 is a perfect solution for your Dolby Atmos home theater system. SR6012 comes with a calibration mic, remote with an LCD display, radio antennas, detachable Bluetooth and Wi-Fi antennas, manual, and a warranty card to set the system up and calibrate the sound. You get to use the Odyssey Multec XD32 calibration tool and Odyssey Multec editor app. The controls are simple and intuitive. You can use the panel on the front side or the included remote. Or you can use the AV Remote app, which is not the most convenient way of controlling everything since it's not very stable. The receiver houses a multitude of inputs/outputs, and most of them are on the back. When it comes to HDMI connections, you have 11 ports. Have an HDMI in on the back plus 1 HDMI in and the front plus 3 HDMI out. One of those 3 HDMI outputs is HDMI ARC for connecting your TV. That's all for today. We upload music product review videos every single day, so don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon for the upcoming video notification.